Okay, so let us start again our lecture on cybersecurity and laws. So coming back to the afternoon session, where we have seen the IT Act 2000, and we have seen section 43, section 66, 67, 69, and 72 uh, are a part of the IT Act, right? So let us take it forward. Is my voice audible? Okay, thank you,
Sure.
Nausin. Yeah. So let me just start by sharing the screen and then we can take it forward. Yeah, so this is where we have left in the afternoon, and let us start from this. Yeah. So let us now, since we have seen that the IT Act depends on all these five sections, section 43, 66, 67, 69, and 72, let us proceed further. So we have seen that IT Act is of total of 13 chapters, and ninth chapter includes the most of the law that we have seen, right? So let us see again each one of them. So this is what we have seen. 65 is tampering with the computer source documents. Section 66 deals with hacking with computer systems or anyone who does the data alteration. Section 67 is for publishing the obscene information. 71 is for misrepresentation. 72 is for breaking the confidentiality and privacy. 73 is for publishing the false digital certificates, and section 74 is for publishing the fraudulent purpose. So that is what we have seen so far. Let us proceed further and see what if anyone violates it. So section 65. Now, as we know that section 65 is for those who knowingly or intentionally conceal, destroy, or alter any computer source code is punishable under section 65. So anyone who actually knowingly or intentionally conceal or destroy any alter any computer source code, maybe when we say computer source code, it means listing of the program, computer commands, design, and layout. Anybody who breaches this act is under punishable, uh, does the offense is punishable under section 65. And so for that, the penalty is you can get a custody of, might have a 3 years imprisonment. So you can have a 3 years imprisonment, or you can have to have a fine of 2 lakh rupees, or you can have both, right? So you can have 3 years imprisonment or 2 lakh rupees of fine, or it can be both, right? Now, next one, section 66. Section 66 is for intention or knowledge to cause any wrongful loss or who does the damage to the public or any person. So any computer related offenses is punishable under section 66. And anybody who breaches section 66 is punishable under the law, for which he can have a custody of 3 years and can have a fine of 5 lakhs. Okay, so anyone who breaches this is punishable under section 66, which have a penalty of 3 years and a fine which can extend up to 5 lakh rupees, or it can be both 3 lakh rupees imprisoned, 3 years imprisonment plus the 5 lakh rupees. So it can be both as well. So normally it applies to all the computer related offenses, maybe on a destruction, anybody does a deletion, alteration, tries to diminish the value, utility, or tries to affect the information which is residing in a computer source. So anybody who does a crime is a part of section 66. Going further, we have section 67. Section 67 is one who actually transmits any obscene material in an electronic form. Okay, so anybody who publishes or anybody who transmits or anybody who causes to be published in an electronic form any obscene material on an internet is actually punishable under the section 67. So it may also include cyber pornography. So anybody who tries to transmit such obscene material on an internet is punishable for that, and for which you, if you do it for the first time, on the first conviction, you get 3 years imprisonment, uh, uh, or plus you have to pay 5 lakh rupees fine. So you can have for that. And if you do it for second subsequent functions, you can have an imprisonment of 5 years imprisonment plus 10 lakh rupees fine. So if you do for the first time, uh, you actually give less penalty, but then if you do it again for the second time, then obviously the fine goes on increasing. Now don't ask me what if anyone does for the third time, right? So for the first time, this is what it is. For the second time, it is, and for all the subsequent conviction, the rate keeps on increasing. And for second conviction, subsequent, you get 5 years imprisonment plus 10 lakh rupee fine or both, right? So it is for the section 67. Now, those who is punished under section 71. So those who does work under section 71 is punishable under that imprisonment, which we have is for 2 years imprisonment and 1 lakh rupee fine, right? So anybody making any misrepresentation, it means anybody trying to suppress any material fact from the controller of the certifying authority for obtaining any license for digital signature certificate, or is actually punished under section 71. So I hope we know what is digital signature. In the previous lecture, we have understood digital signature in much more detail. What is digital signature and what is the digital certificate and what is certificate authority, CCA, CA, and all such concepts we have seen in the previous lecture, uh, right? So when we were discussing probability time of digital signature, we have discussed and we have understood. So anybody who does any misrepresentation of any kind of an information from the controller of certifying authority, that is CCA, for obtaining any license or any digital certificate is actually punishable under section 71, for which you can get an imprisonment of 2 years and you can get a fine of 1 lakh rupees. Right? Now, coming back to section 72. Now, section 72 is actually for those who does the breaching of confidentiality and privacy. So any person who in regards of any powers conferred under IT Act has secured access to any electronic record, who has the access to the register, who has an access to the information or the document without the consent of the person, discloses any information, maybe the book, maybe the register, maybe any information, are punishable under section 72, and for which he can have a 2 years imprisonment and can have a fine up to 1 lakh rupees. Okay. So again, as I said, it is for those. Section 73. Section 73 is for those who is publishing any digital certificate which is false in certain areas. Now, for example, anyone who publishes a digital signature certificate or otherwise making it available to any other person with the knowledge that the certifying authority listed in the certificate has not issued. So somehow if you try to publish a digital certificate, and we have seen that whenever a digital certificate is published, it is always who certifying authority or a CA is one who published, who gives, who actually who actually allows to creation for the digital certificate. Now, if someone tries to actually make a false digital certificate, or if somebody publishes a digital signature certificate which is false in nature, then he is punishable under section 3. So it may be anyone, the certifying authority listed in the certificate is not issued, or maybe the subscriber listed in the certificate is not accepted, or maybe the certificate has been suspended or the certificate has been revoked. And if you are trying to do, try to publish such kind of a digital certificate, then you are punished under section 73. And for that, you can have 2 years imprisonment and you can have a fine up to 1 lakh rupees. Okay, clear so far? And then we'll go to section 74. Section 74 is for those who is publishing any fraudulent purpose. So anyone who is actually creating, publishing, or otherwise making available a digital signature certificate for any fraudulent purpose, for them who is publishing anything for any fraudulent purpose, for them section 74 is being applied, and for that you get a punishment for an imprisonment of 2 years, and for that you have give fine of 1 lakh rupees. So section 74, if you are punished under section 74, then you can have 2 years imprisonment, and you can have you will have to pay 1 lakh rupee as a fine. So this were about something about the IT Act 2000. Clear so far? So if you're punished under various sections, so accordingly you will have to pay for it. So on which sections you are punished, depending on that you will have to pay as a penalty. Maybe some years imprisonment and maybe some years fine. Clear? Okay, thank you, Gokul and Nausin. But then again, yes, thank you, Shubham. But then again, if you see one thing which I personally feel, that even if there is a fine, but if you can see the penalty, it is maximum of imprisonment of 2 years, 3 years, or maximum 5 years, and fine up to 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. Now the thing, if the person on the other side knows already what if even after he is get caught, the penalty is not that huge, right? If I do a very big crime, and on the other side, if you can see the penalty that I have to pay is very less, then obviously there it should be some improvement in such a way that nobody will ever think of doing any cyber crime. That anybody should think twice, thrice, 20 times, 50 times before committing any cyber crime. And cyber crime will be reduced probably if we have a penalty which is so huge that person will think twice before any committing any crime. So if we have certain laws that will be so strict that anybody will ever think of doing it, then I think then can be a chances where the cybercrime can be reduced. So it is what I think, that we need to have certain kind of a scenarios. Okay. Now, since you have understood IT Act 2000, next we are going to go towards understanding an IT Act 2008. Now, when we say IT 2008, it is also called as IT Act Amendment. It is an amendment act of IT 2000. So the IT Amendment Act was passed by Indian Parliament in October 2008, which came into force 1 year later. That is, it came into force in 2009. And the amendment was created to address the issue which the original bill failed to cover, and to accommodate all the further development of IT and all the related security concerns since the original law was passed. So the IT Act 2008 was there to make any amendments to the IT Act of 2000. So it was passed by the Indian Parliament in October 2008, which came into force in 2009. And the main reason for it was to introduce and to discuss issues which were not covered in IT Act 2000. Right? So some amendments were made in IT Act 2000 to include all the issues which were not covered in IT Act 2000 and try to make it much more stronger. So IT Act 2008 is also called as an amendment act it's also called as an amendment act. So it is also called as IT Amendment Act 2008. Clear? If you have understood so far, we'll then see what are the amendments that were done in IT Act 2000, in IT Act 2008. Okay, fine, Sesta, fine, Nausin. Yeah. So let us again proceed further, and let us see. Yeah. So let us see the amendments of IT Act 2008. So there were some of the amendment that was done to an IT Act 2000, in which, if you have seen this section 66. Okay, sir. Yeah. So if you see, you have a section 66. If you can see on the left hand side, and here you have a 66 section 66A. So section 66 was there, in which the provision has significantly changed. So under IT Act 2008, all the acts which was referred under section 43 are also covered under section 66 if they are done dishonestly or fraudulently. So the same laws that applies to section 43 also are also being covered, are part in under section 66 if they are done any dishonestly. So if anyone is dying any fraudulently, then under IT Act, all the acts that are referred in section say 43 are a part of it. So that is again an amendment. Plus many cyber crime on which there were no expression in IT Act 2000 are now included in IT Act 2008. So to name a few, if you see, section 66A is for sending of offensive or false message. So it is something, a new section that has came up, where you are being fined or you are being charged with, you are punished if you are sent any offensive or any false message. So which is also, in other words, it is also called as cyber stalking. Now I hope by now you all might be aware what is a cyber stalking. Anyone who still remember of module 1 what is cyber stalking? I just want to know how many of you remember what is cyber stalking. So we are into the module number 5 and I'm asking a question from module number 1 to just know how much do we remember about cyber stalking. And I expect that you know the answer. So if you can write it down, what is cyber stalking?
So,
Yeah,
the act of following a person on the internet or on a digital platform without
okay,
his permission.
okay, okay, fine. Just a minute. Yeah, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. I think there is something. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, if you can just answer it again. Nausin, harassing another person by misusing the internet or media. Use of internet to harass the individual. Yes. So very good. So see, this is how interesting the subject is. So we still know what is cyber stalking, right? So it is correctly said. It is what we try to harass another person by misusing the internet or use of internet to harass the individual. Correct. So if anyone who is section 66A actually deals with cyber stalking, which was not a part of IT 2000, and now if you're caught under the same under cyber stalking, then you have an imprisonment of up to 3 years. Okay, so if you're punished, then you'll have an imprisonment of up to 3 years. Right. Going further, similarly, there are some other things that are also an amendment act that has been part of, that is section 66B. Section 66B is also added in IT Act 2008, in which it is for the punishment for dishonestly receiving any stolen computer resource or communication device. So if you remember in module number 2, when we were discussing, we have seen that in some of the research, we have also came into consideration and identified that how we have also seen that how dishonestly anyone receives any stolen or any computer device or any information, and how it works. So that we have already seen. And we have seen that probably if a taxi man has reported there are several laptops, machines, and mobile phones, everybody forgets it in the taxi. And then what if it comes in hand of someone? So, but then if dishonestly, if you try to receive any stolen computer resource or communication device, then you are punishable under 66B. So whomsoever dishonestly receives or on the other side retains any stolen computer resource or communication device knowingly or having reason to believe the same to be stolen computing resource or communication device shall be punished under imprisonment of for a term which may extend up to 3 years or with a fine which may extend up to rupees 1 lakh or both. So that comes under 66B. Similarly, for 66C, it's again a new provision where the punishment is been done for an identity theft. So it was not a part of IT Act 2000, it's been introduced in 2008, where section 66C is for those who's been done punishment for identity theft. Now, if you remember in module number 1, we have seen what are the different damages have been done if somebody uses your identity and does your transactions. So anybody whomsoever fraudulently or dishonestly make use of any electronic signature, password, or any unique identification feature, or any other person shall be punished with an imprisonment of for a term which may extend up to 3 years and shall be liable to fine which may extend up to 1 lakh rupees. So if you are caught under identity theft by using somebody other's identity and you are doing a crime, and if you are caught, then you will get imprisonment for 3 years and a fine up to 1 lakh. So now, next, what we are going to see in section 66D. Now, section 66D is all, I think it's not there in this slide, but then I'll just say what is section 66D. Section 66D is also that been introduced in IT Act 2008. It is used for the punishing for those who does cheating by impersonation by using the computing resource. So whomsoever by means of any communication device or computer resource cheats or impersonates anyone shall be punished with an imprisonment for a term which may extend up to 3 years and is also liable for a fine which may extend up to 1 lakh rupees. So if you are punished for cheating any impersonation by using any computing resources of someone, then you are punished for 3 years and you have a fine for 1 lakh rupees. There was a new introduction in section 66, that is section 66E. Section 66E was introduced in IT Act 2008 for those who does a punishment for violation of privacy. So privacy is something whomsoever intentionally or knowingly captures, publishes or transmits the image. Very serious it is. Section 66E is if you violate the privacy. For example, if you intentionally or knowingly publish or transmit any image of any private area of any person. So if you try to take an image and then, just a minute. Yeah. So if you try to take an image or if you try to capture an image and if you try to publish or transmit any image of any private area of any person without his or her consent under circumstances violating the privacy of that person shall be punished, for which you might be punished, which may have an imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years or with a fine not exceeding rupees 2 lakh. So you will have an imprisonment for 3 years and you will have a fine up to rupees 2 lakh maximum. So mostly will have a fine less than 2 lakh rupees. So it will not exceed up to 2 lakh rupees, or in the worst case, you can have both. So if you can see in this slide, I've given an example. There was a Pune spy cam incident. I hope how many of you know, I do not know. But then there was a Pune spy cam incident. It's a real life example. A Pune spy cam incident occurred where a 58-year-old man was arrested for installing the spy camera in his own house. So he has installed a spy camera in his own house just to snoop on the young lady which were in their home. So it's again shameful if anybody is using any spy camera. Even a 50-year-old man was arrested for doing this. He in his own house where there were young ladies, maybe I do not want to name, but then he was snooping that and then he was caught. And so if anybody, and he has tried to do that. So he was arrested for installing this spy camera and then he was caught under section 66E. It also covers for those who acts like hiding cameras in changing room, when there is a changing room, probably in any store, probably a clothes store, when there's a changing room. So somehow if anybody tries to hide any camera in the changing room or maybe any hotel room, and if you're caught, then you are punished under section 66E. And for that, you can have an imprisonment up to 3 years and a fine up to rupees 2 lakh. Maximum up to 2 lakh, but normally it always less than 2 lakh. Or it can have, in the worst case, you will have to have a imprisonment of 3 years plus a fine up to rupees 2 lakhs. You also had a new section 66F, which for the cyber terrorism is for those whomsoever with the intent to threat the unity, integrity, and security and sovereignty of India. If anybody does try to hamper the threaten the unity and integrity of our country, that is India, and if it does try to do any terrorism, any terrorist attack against the country, are punishable under section 66F. And if you are caught that where you are threatening the life of all the people within the country by planting any bomb or whatever it may be, in any which ways, in whatever ways, if you are found of doing any cyber terrorism, while the main intention is to destroy the country, then you are punishable for an imprisonment which may extend up to life imprisonment. So we'll have to sit in a jail lifetime if you are caught doing any cyber terrorism. All right. So this is how the different sections that has been introduced in section 66. Clear? Okay, Danish. Yeah. Yes, Mohit. So let us again proceed further and see what are the new amendments that were made in IT Act 2008. There was an in 67. So if you haven't seen section 67, we have seen which was on the obscenity that for punishing or publishing any material which contains sexually explicit act. So if you try to publish, then you're punished under 67. So on that, there was some amendment made in section 67A. So section 67A was introduced in IT Act 2008, in which whomsoever publishes or transmits or causes to be published or transmits in the electronic form any material which contains the sexually explicit act or conduct shall be punished, in which if you do for the first time, you have a 5 years imprisonment. You're caught under 5 years imprisonment and with a fine which may extend up to 10 lakh rupees for the first offense, and for subsequent offense, if you do it for the second time and the subsequent excess sufficient offense, then you have an imprisonment up to 7 years, and you will have to pay a fine up to 10 lakh rupees. So this is again a new which is introduced, section 67A, which deals with punishment for publishing or transmitting any material which may be a sexually explicit act, which you can transmit in electronic form. So that is what we have, section 67A. Similarly, yeah, Chaitanya, when we say amendment means there are some additions, there are some modifications that has been done in the section just to accompany with the new type of an attack. So that is an amendment means some addition has been done in the initial act which was there in 2000, just to make sure that all the recent types of attacks are getting covered, right? So to cover which were not covered, to take into consideration all the laws which were not covered initially in IT 2000 were been there in IT 2008. Yes. Okay, fine. Yeah. Again, there were more amendments. A section 67B was introduced, in which it was introduced to cover any child pornography. So for child pornography, a new amendment was made in section 67B. Now, I think child pornography is all you know. We have discussed again in module number 1 in detail. What is a child pornography? So child pornography has been made a separate offense in section 67B, in which punishment is done for publishing or transmitting material depicting any children in any sexually act is punishable under 67B. So whomsoever publishes or transmitted or causes to be published anything which depicts children engaged in any sexual act. So if you have certain things in which children are involved, on which children are engaged in any sexual act, are punishable, and if you are caught participating in that, then you are punishable under 67B. So anyone who creates digital image, anybody who collects the image, downloads the image, advertises the image, promotes the image in any electronic form about any children in any obscene or indecent or sexually explicit manner, then he is punished under section 67B. For that, you have punished with 5 years imprisonment, and you can have a fine up to 10 lakh if you do it for the first time. So for the first time offense, punishment is lesser. You have 5 years imprisonment and then a fine of up to 10 lakh rupees. But then if you do as a subsequent offense, then you will have an imprisonment up to 7 years and a fine which will extend up to 10 lakh rupees. Okay. So this is about section 67A and 67B. Going further, the last amendment which we are going to take it is section 72A. So section 71, there is no change. It is the same as which was there in IT Act 2000. So section 71, there is no change in section 71. There is a change in section 72. So in the section 72, they have introduced section 72A, in which it is introduced for the punishment of disclosure of information in breach of a lawful contract. So anyone who is actually hampering any data protection purpose, or any person who has secured access to any material containing the person information about any another person, is punishable under section 72A. So anyone who provides or who is caught for disclosing any information in breach of lawful contract can have imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years, or a fine which may extend up to 5 lakhs, or it can be both. Okay, so here we end module number 5. That is Indian IT Act. Any questions if you have you understood? You can raise it. Any questions related to module number 5?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So here we end module number 5. I hope you have enjoyed understanding the Indian IT Act. And yeah, now your things comes is in the exam probably you will have to remember what are the different sections. So there are different sections probably when we speak about the IT Act 2000 and the IT Amendment Act of 2008. There are different sections, and under different sections, if you have seen what are the different punishments do we have. So that is you will something will have to remember. But then I hope then since we know about all the different crimes that we have seen so far, right in the module number 1, so we know what are different crimes that are being performed. The only thing that will be requiring from your side is to go through across the same and refer them and try to remember them. I know it would be difficult, but then if you read twice and thrice, I don't think so. It would be a difficult task. But I hope you have enjoyed understanding IT Act, which we have it, which deals with all the crimes that are related to cybercrime, and what are the punishment do we get if, because being a cybersecurity law, while understanding, we need to understand if anybody does the crime, under which section, under which law he is punishable. So I hope you have enjoyed it. So this was the entire thing. About the notes, as I said, IT Act 2000, IT Act 2008, the notes for the same are already been uploaded on the Moodle. You can go and have a look. So if you want to read it in much more detail, it's entire document which I have taken from the Ministry of Information and Technology. It's already been there in the Moodle. You can go and have an access on the same, and then you can read it entirely. So apart from that, if you want to make much more reading on it, the entire thing is being uploaded for you, right? So you can either refer that, you can either refer my notes, my slides, or either you can make use of a Nina Godbole book. Even that book also gives you much more glimpse about IT Act and IT Act 2008. So this was about module number 5. Here we end it. I'll request everyone to join back in, and then we'll start with module number 6. That is the last module that we have for the syllabus is concerned. So we shall join again in the next module after 5 minutes. You can join back. We'll take a break of 5 minutes. You can take a break of five minutes, get yourself fresh, and then we can join in. Meanwhile, those who have not updated their details are requested to kindly update details in the chat box. UI number, name, and the roll number.
Shukran, Subir.